Well, howdy YouTube, Unky Joe here, Unky Joe's Playhouse. Yeah, that's where I'm at. Hey, look, I got a ball on my head. I have big fuzzy balls. You like that? You like it when I play with my big fuzzy ball? I'm talking about the one on my hat, you idiots. Get your minds out of the gutter. All right, so today, Proxmox Part 3. Today we're going to create some virtual machines. We're going to create a Windows 7 and a Windows 10 virtual machine. I'm going to show you how to load drivers on it, how to get the guest agent working, hopefully. And then I'll share with you my overall feelings so far on this journey I've taken with Proxmox and what I think about it. So let's get the video started right now. So the first thing, we're going to start off with the Windows 7 virtual machine. I just want to show you how that's done. So the first thing we need to do is come over to our local storage and make sure we have a Windows 7 DVD in here, and we do not, so we will need to upload one. So it's very simple. Just click up here on upload, browse to where your ISO file is, and mine is on, let's try the D drive first. I don't think I still have, there it is right there, English Windows 7 Ultimate 64 DVD ISO. So that's the file I'm going to select. I'm going to choose open and then upload. It'll take a couple of minutes to upload the file. Alright, so we're ready to put in our username, so I'm going to use my handy dandy trusty Adama account. Now this machine is going to be called W7-P for Pro number 1. So I probably ought to get that 5 out of there, huh? Yeah. Click on next. We're going to give it a super secret password and a hint. We're not going to automatically activate Windows. We're going to skip it, and we're going to ask later for Windows updates. And let's set our time zone correctly. Alright, so we're booted up to the operating system, but as you can see, we've got no network connection, and if we come here under the computer and go to properties and go into device manager, you will see that we have some devices that are unknown. So let's go ahead and get those fixed. Let's see if it's identifying our processors. Yes, it is. So we'll go into the unknown device first. We'll right click and tell it update driver software. We're going to browse to my computer, and we're going to go to that, I believe it'll be the D drive, is where the Vert ISO image is mounted. So let's go to the computer. Yeah, go to the DVD drive, select that, and then make sure you have the check mark include subfolders. Click on next, and it should find the drivers. Nope, it doesn't have any idea what that driver is. Okay. So let's try the PCI device. We'll do the update driver software, browse, choose D, and this is the Vert IO balloon driver. We'll go ahead and install it. We'll have to come back and see what that unknown device is. It could be a sub device on the balloon driver, I don't know. But we're doing this live, so as opposed to doing it dead. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and update the Ethernet controller. Same way, we'll just point it to the D drive, tell it to include subfolders. It should find the driver automatically. It does. It finds the Red Hat Vert IO Ethernet adapter. We'll go ahead and install it. Okay, so it's successfully installed it. We'll click on close. Now it should go out and tell us, yes, it says MCS local. So it does see our network. I'm not going to worry about this device right now. We'll come back and deal with that later. We'll tell it we're on a work network. Go ahead and close. So now we should have our drivers installed. Now we need to do one more. We need to load the agent software for Windows 7. So we'll just come back to that Vert IO ISO file. We'll come to the guest agent, and we're going to load the QEMU guest agent x64. So we'll double click on that. We'll tell it yes to install. Now we have to take some steps after we've done this to actually enable this in the virtual machine. So we'll wait for it to install, and then what we're going to do is we're actually going to shut down the virtual machine, and we're going to go out and make some changes to the settings. Alright, so the QEMU driver, the guest agent drivers have been loaded. So I'm going to go ahead and close this, and I'm going to shut down this virtual machine. Now the guest agent gives you the ability to do, like Control-Alt-Delete. It gives you the ability to shut down or restart a virtual machine without having to log into the actual virtual machine and do it. So now that the machine is closed, we come over here to the machine ID 103 and go to Options, and what you want to do is come down here to the QEMU agent, double click on that, enable it, and then click OK. And then we can come back up to our summary. We're going to go ahead, and you'll see right here it says the guest agent is not running. We're going to click on Start. We're starting up the virtual machine now, and then we'll go ahead and click on the console button. We'll let Windows 7 boot up. Should be rather quick, and it is. It's actually very fast for a virtual machine, but Windows 7 is not a big resource hog like Windows 10 can be because of all that fluff. Oh, I can just say the word, the crap they add onto Windows 10. Now, I don't believe the guest agent, see it still says the guest agent is not running. And so what I'm going to do is go out to Services, and I'm going to see if we can't find that QEMU guest agent and tell it to run. So let's come down P and then Q. QEMU, you see it's set to automatic, but it's not starting automatically. So I'm going to go ahead and right click and choose Start. It tells the service did not respond. Let's try it again. Nope. Okay, so don't know what this is. Maybe we need the VSS provider to be started first. And then perhaps we can start the guest agent. Nope, still says it couldn't start. Okay, so we'll have to revisit this, but normally what you would do is come out here and choose to start the service. I'm going to try to shut down and restart one more time. See if this makes any difference whatsoever. I do like the fact that it appears very speedy though when I'm using it. But of course, my ultimate test is that network transfer speed test to see if we're getting full speeds, that 100 megabyte holy grail of file transfer speed that I'm so fond of. Alright, let's see if the service is up and running now. And no, it says automatic, but it doesn't say it's started, and if I try to start it, I get the same error. Okay, well that'll be a research for another day, but suffice it to say we got Windows 7 up and running. So let's do some testing to see how the speed is. Alright, so let's do our network speed test and see what kind of speeds we're getting. I'm going to come out here to File Explorer, and I'm going to go to try to log into the Home NAS. And there we go. I'm going to go out to the video folder. I'm going to go ahead and map a network drive here. Drive V. And we'll go down to our trusty sci-fi, and we'll get all of our aliens here. We're going to right click, copy, and then we're going to come back to the C drive. We're going to create a new folder called Test, where we place these files. Now let's right click and paste, and let's see what kind of file transfer speeds we get. Starting out great. So we started out strong at about 125 megabytes per second. We're coming down 60 to 70 megabytes per second. It's going to fluctuate a bit, but still it's better than I got before when I tried out Proxmox. So it's just a matter of, I think, having the right combination of drivers loaded, using the VirtIO drivers, making sure that your virtual machine is optimized for the hypervisor it's on. But these are very acceptable file transfer speeds for my use, and considering this a Windows 7 machine. We'll see how well the Windows 10 machine does when we get it set up. So there you go. Very acceptable copy speeds. We now have a Windows 7 virtual machine up and running. We still have the one driver issue. If we come out here to Device Manager, and I'll figure out what this is and let you know. See if I can't figure it out, and release that information in an upcoming video, or I'll put some notes down in the notes section. But now let's move on and let's get our Windows 10 virtual machine set up, shall we? Now I just want to show you this. I was just talking about this with my business partner. No virtual machines over here running at all. And look at my memory utilization. Sorry, let me come over to the right screen. No virtual machines running over here, yet look at my memory virtualization. So this is the core operating system and ZFS. So I don't know that this memory will go down or go up. Whether ZFS releases it, as it doesn't need it so much if you don't have any VMs running. Don't know enough about ZFS, especially under Proxmox, to be knowledgeable or to tell you about that, so I'll just shut up. Here we go. Let's make our Windows 10 machine. So we'll come to our Proxmox server, come back up here to create VM, and we're going to call this W10, capital W10-P for Pro. And this is going to be number 4. Next, our ISO we need to point to, so it's a local directory, and it's the software DVD 9 Pro Windows Pro Educational 1803. Yes, I do have 1809, but I'm just going to use 1803 image for right now. It changes to Microsoft Windows 10 2016. Click on Next. For the hard drive, we're going to change this to a VirtIO block device, and we're going to give it about a 40 gigabyte hard drive, and we're going to make sure this is on the ZFS pool right here, main store. Click on Next. I like to give my Windows 10 machines 4 cores, and if you needed to change the type of processor that runs it, it's one of the nice things about Proxmox. You can emulate any one of these many processors here. If you need special instances to emulate a certain processor for say like a Hackintosh, you could come down and do that if you need to. I'm going to leave mine at the default. Click on Next. I also like to give my machines, my Windows 10 machines, 4 gig of RAM. I'm not going to cover minimum and maximum memory. We'll do that for a later episode. But it's similar to how Hyper-V does dynamic RAM. Click on Next. We're going to leave it in bridge mode, and we're going to choose the VirtIO Paravirtualized. Click on Next, and then just confirm the settings so it can create the virtual machine. Make sure you don't click this button here or it'll start automatically. Click on Finish, and then we'll wait for it to finish creating the virtual machine, and it appears to have done that. So now let's come over here to the virtual machine, and again, just like we did with Windows 7, we're going to go to Options, and we're going to go to Hardware. We're going to add a CD-ROM device on local storage, so we have the VirtIO CD available to us during the installation. Come back up here to Summary, and let's click on Start, and then Console. Now that took a little while to come up, about a minute and a half to come up to the install screen. That's okay. We're going to click on Next and then choose Install Now. Now I do have the 1809 version of Windows 10, which is the October surprise update I like to call, because they surprised everybody by deleting their files. And so I've decided not to use that. There's some software that I have that is not compatible with 1809, specifically Veeam backup and replication, so these can always be updated later trivially. So for our purposes, we're just going to use 1803. I'm going to choose Windows 10 Pro, Click on Next. Accept the license terms. Click on Next. I'm going to do a custom install, and you're going to see we have the same problem we had with Windows 7, no hard drive. So what we want to do is come down here to Load Driver. We're going to browse to that VirtIO ISO, come down all the way to VIO Store, then we're looking for the Windows 10 AMD 64 directory. Click OK, you'll see it identifies the driver. Click on Next to load that driver. So now that it's identified, loaded the correct driver, it's now identified the virtual hard drive. We'll click on Next. And I think you know the routine from here, so we'll come back when something significant changes. So the initial install is complete and it's rebooting from it now. We'll see how long this takes. Alright, so we've recovered from our initial boot and we need to go through our setup phase. You know the steps on this, right? United States, unless you're somewhere else. We're going to skip the keyboard layout. Now, we're going to have the same problem we had with Windows 7. It's not going to have a network driver loaded, so skip for now. We don't need it. And that'll remove one step, and that is this thing going out looking for updates, which can really slow down an install. So we're going to use the same username and super secret password. Okay, let me put my security questions in here. Now, of course, we don't want to use Cortana. And then we have a Microsoft's feel-good method of turning off telemetry. It really doesn't turn off all the telemetry, but it makes people feel better to throw a finger to Microsoft and say no to all this stuff. So that's what I'm going to do. Go ahead and click on Accept. I don't get too worked up about privacy. They know everything about me anyway, from between your phone and your Amazon Alexa and everything else you got in your house listening to you. They probably know more about you than your own family does. So if you worry about that kind of thing, go for it. It keeps me from having to do it. In 3, 2, 1, sorry. So now we'll come up and we've got it up to the desktop. Let's go ahead and get our drivers loaded. So we can just right click down here and go to Device Manager. And we'll start with our PCI. Let's see if it found our processors. It appears to have. Okay, so PCI device, we'll update the driver. We'll browse. We'll go out to our VirtIO CD, which is drive D, and we'll come down here to just to the D drive. We need to be in the root and include subfolders. Click on Next. Hopefully this is the VirtIO balloon driver. We shall see. Yes, it is VirtIO. Now, before I load this driver, there is some question as to whether you should load this or not. I'm going off the Proxmox best practice video, and I'm going to install it. This handles the memory allocation for the virtual machine is my understanding, so I always load it. Alright, so we've got that driver loaded now, so now let's load our Ethernet driver. Same way, you can either double click on it or right click and choose update driver, browse. It should go to the D drive automatically. Click on next, and it should load the driver for our network card, and you'll see it already identifies our network. Yes, click on close. Alright, so the next step is to go out to the VirtIO CD, and we're going to load the QEM guest agent. Again, we're going to use the X64, double click, tell it yes. Okay, so we're back. Anyway, so we've loaded the guest agent, so let's go ahead and shut the virtual machine down, and then we're going to go do our little trick to enable it and see if we have better luck with this one than we did with Windows 7. So we'll let the machine shut down here. Alright, so after I loaded that guest agent, the machine booted up to a black screen, and I didn't want to sit around waiting for it, so I just came down here to the power button and I sent a reset command. I don't recommend you do that, but I have seen that before. Maybe it's a bug that hasn't been reported yet. I don't know why it locked up Windows 10, but we should be able to log in now. And then we'll go out and we'll see if that, right now you can see that it says right here the guest agent is not running. So let's go out to our services. And see if we can start that QEMU. And there it is. Let's see if it'll start on this machine. Nope. Service did not respond to the starter control request in a timely fashion. Now I'm wondering if there hasn't been an update to that QEMU guest agent. I'll do a little research on that and find out why that's not working. But basically that's that's going to keep you from doing is issuing like a shutdown command up here to shut down the OS. In fact, we can try that here real quick if I get the right window up. So I'm just going to try and shut it down from here. And let's see if it'll actually go down through a shutdown procedure. See, it says it sent the command successfully, but as you can see, the machine is not shutting down. So without that guest agent in there, we're still going to have to manually shut it down, because it's not going to listen to commands. So let me go ahead and shut it down manually. And you can see down here, it thinks it was trying to shut down from that previous command. Now I have had instances in the past, and this is, I gotta tell you, I like Proxmox, but there are some issues that are going to keep me from using it as my daily driver. We'll cover those in another episode, but suffice it to say I was able to shut down the server or the machine. So now I'm going to go ahead and start it back up again and just make sure that I can log into it. And then we'll do our little network test and see what kind of speed we're getting on that. So I'm going to let this run real time so you can see how fast the machine boots. And it's not bad. It's at least as fast as any other hypervisor I've used in the past, be it Hyper-V or ESXi or XCPNG, etc. Alright. Now let's go ahead and go out to a browser, and I'm going to go to my home NAS. And I'm going to right click and map drive V. and have it reconnect at log on. Alright, and go get our videos. Let's get our sci-fi. You know, the ones we like to copy. Create a test folder. And paste. Let's see what kind of speeds we get. So here we are coming into the home stretch, and you'll see we have little dips, and I believe that's when the ZFS array writes the data. We get a little dip in the speed, but then it recovers rather quickly. Watch it make a liar out of me, and here we go, the speed's coming back up. So these are little minor dips, but as long as that speed maintains at about 100 megabytes per second, I'm a pretty happy camper. And then of course the last bit of file copying always seems to take the longest, but there you go. A successful Windows 10 and Windows 7 unit. Alright, so there you go. We got the virtual machines created. You'll see they're working fine. We got the drivers loaded, the virt.io drivers. It was trivial to get it to load. And I have found through our testing that we did at the end of creating those virtual machines that I am indeed getting 100 megabytes per second across my network. You know, that is the bane of my existence, is getting good transfer speeds when running virtual machines. Now, the machines are speedy. They come right up. You see I did have that one glitch, minor glitch with Windows 10 after I loaded the guest agent. Frankly, I'm going to have to do a little more research on exactly how the guest agent works under Proxmox with Windows machines. I have yet to get it to work, but we'll figure that out as time goes on. Now, let's just talk a little bit about Proxmox. 7-8 months ago, I told you I didn't think it was ready for prime time. The only updates I've done on Proxmox are of the underlying Linux operating system. I haven't gone out and added the repositories to do the other updates to Proxmox. I wanted to get all my virtual machines up and running so I had something to play with. So in a upcoming episode on Proxmox, we will probably go through and show you how to add the repositories and do those updates to Proxmox, and fingers crossed, hopefully it won't break anything. The other thing I'd like to talk about is the fact that I am using ZFS in a RAID 10 array on Proxmox. Now this is a RAID array that was created by Proxmox using ZFS as the underlying file system. And we all know ZFS is a huge memory pig. In fact, I covered this, but I want you to look over to the monitor here. I have no virtual machines running under Proxmox. I just completed my clone of my virtual machines. However, I still have 54% of my memory locked up for something. So be aware, if you're going to use ZFS on Proxmox, you're going to have a significant overhead for memory. Now, I am told there is a way to limit the amount of memory ZFS can use under Proxmox. It's on their wiki page. We might even cover that in the next episode, but I'm not going to make any promises. So I guess the bigger question, am I going to have any use for Proxmox in my lab environment? I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see how it goes. You really don't know how something works in these short videos or long videos I do. You really don't get an idea how it works until you put it through its paces and actually start testing it and using it. So the way I've got my lab configured now, I can easily switch between all of these hypervisors without having to do reloads and that kind of thing by doing a little planning ahead. And so I'm going to keep Proxmox around, so I keep doing some videos on it. As I learn new things, I'll share these with you in upcoming videos. So there you go, YouTube. We hope you found the video entertaining and informative as always. Please give us a gigantic let me rephrase that. Please give us a thumbs up down below if you liked it, or a thumbs down. A thumbs up if you liked. Yeah, thumbs down if you didn't. Leave your comments down in the comments section. I love seeing your comments on the videos. If you're inclined to donate, we take PayPal, we take Patreon. I'll be doing a video at the end of the month. A special thank you to all our Patreon and PayPal supporters out there. And remember what they said in Greece. If you can't be an athlete, be an athletic supporter. Keep that in mind when you think of Monkey Joe's Playhouse. And don't forget that we will see you and 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 all those voices in my head on the other side.